So this past Sunday I was at the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre in Glasgow for Insane Championship Wrestling's biggest event of the year, Fear and Loathing 8. Now, I actually had an interaction ticket, so I was able to meet the people involved in the VIP session before the event began. Bit of a confusion, I have to say, with the queues prior to that. Wasn't sure what queue. There was only one point. When we got there, was only one queue, and people were unsure where to queue for the VIP. And eventually, a few people were brought up who'd been waiting at the ticket desk, and they formed the front of the VIP queue, which I thought was a bit annoying. So I ended up joining near the end of that queue, so a bit annoying. But I got in to see the VIP and the people, the guys that were in the VIP signing. Now, I also have to say, it seemed, because he wasn't advertised, but one of the special guests, well, the special guest, Mick Foley, hardcore legend, former WWE champion, he ended up being a part of the interaction, the VIP meet and greet, whatever you want to call it, session. I wish I really would have known, because it wasn't advertised. It was advertised as Stevie Boy, who was there, Grado, Drew Galloway, who I finally got a picture with, and Polo Promotions. But unfortunately, Mick Foley wasn't actually advertised as being a part of the VIP. I wish I'd known, because I could have taken one of his books up to sign. I got him to actually sign the program, though, that they gave you. They gave you a Fear and Loathing t-shirt actually as well as part of the VIP thing. I would show you it, but I've been wearing it the last couple of days. It's a bit stinky, so I'll put it in the wash now. So it's going to get washed soon. I might show it in a future video, but it was great to go through. Like I said, finally got the photograph with Drew Galloway. I've been after one for the last year or so at least, because I've attended this. I think was around about my third or fourth ICW show, because I've been to a couple in Dundee. So I think I realised the third, but certainly the first one in Glasgow, first one at SECC. Like I said, I got a picture with Drew Galloway, fantastic. Finally got a picture with him. Got a picture with Stevie Boy, who's the Zero G champion going into the event. I got Grado to sign the program. I've got a couple of pictures with Grado already, so I didn't get a picture with him. And then finally got a couple of autographs from Mick Foley. He signed my T-shirt. More about that. More about my T-shirt. Well, I'll tell you, because I've put that one, had to put that one in the wash as well, unfortunately. It was but I'll talk about that when I get to the Rhino Joe Coffey match, and you'll know why shortly. But I got him to sign the T-shirt, and then I got him to sign the program, and I finally got a photograph with Mick Foley. Like I said, we weren't really sure that he would be a part of the VIP session until we saw him come out of the kind of arena, the hall area, and going into it was like a small cafe canteen bitty where they held the signings, and we got to finally see, yep, he's definitely going to be part of the VIP sign, because I put that on Facebook. I think I said on here on YouTube before, I was really disappointed that Mick Foley wasn't advertised as being part of the VIP session, because I have been and I'm a fan of Mick Foley. I have been for many years, since the early 1990s when he was Cactus Jack in WCW, and you see I'm actually wearing one of my Wanted Dead t-shirts that he sells occasionally online. And so it was great to finally meet Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind, Mick Foley, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, whatever you want to call him. Finally got a chance to meet him, get a picture with him. All those pictures were free. I did pay, though, £10 for a picture with Polo Promotions, which I thought, you know what, I thought, all the rest of the pictures were free, which I was really surprised about. I expected to perhaps pay for a photograph. I knew that if it was even normal standard charge when it comes to wrestling events here in Scotland, it's normally about £10 for a photograph of the star, whether that be an official photographer. Sometimes that's slightly more due to obviously their fee, but a lot of times it's £10, even if it's with your own device, which would either be a mobile phone, whether it be a camera like I had, and I took my pictures. I had somebody actually, thankfully, in the queue, and thanks to them, I don't know their name, but thanks to the guy that was behind me in the queue, he took the pictures of me with the various stars, because we could only get one interaction ticket, and it ended up happening to be mine. So myself, my brother and his girlfriend, we can only get one interaction package. We've taken care of that for next year, because tickets were on sale for Fear and Loathing 9 this morning. We got my brother's girlfriend was able to purchase those tickets. I'll talk about that at the end of this, which is probably end up going to be lengthy video, because I'm already on 5 minutes, but however long this takes, I want to go through this event properly and discuss it properly. So I met those guys. I got a tip. I said I paid £10 for a picture with Polo Promotions, Coach Trip, Jackie Polo, Mark Coffey, and it was. I think the picture was really good. It was by David J. Wilson Photography. And I'm probably forgetting somebody about Polo Promotions, I'm getting the feeling now, but all of the guys with Polo Promotions, I got a picture with them, the ICW Tag Team Champions going into the event. I thought it was worth it. I said it in the run up to the Sting event in Glasgow, which happened on, I think it was October the 7th. I said that, you know, I don't know about the other photographers for any other two events that Sting, because Sting was up, Sting was in the UK with Inside the Ropes, wrestling podcast and live show guys. Anyway, they had I'm on a at least a three city tour in the UK. I think it was London, I think it was Manchester, and certainly Glasgow was the final day, and me and my brother went to Glasgow and saw Sting there. And I said in the run up to that because they released the information prior that saying that David J. Wilson Photography, who takes photographs at many UK and mostly Scottish wrestling events, he's a professional photographer. I said it in the run up to that you really don't need to worry if you're getting your picture taken by David J. Wilson. If it's something like that, a meet and greet with, say, Sting, or like the one I did at the SECC with Polo Promotions, or something like that, if you're going to an event and they've advertised that that the pictures with the star, whether it be a meet and greet, whether it be a wrestling event, whether it be a meet and greet, a spoken word tour, whatever, if they're saying that they have David J. Wilson to take the pictures at the meet and greet, you do not need to worry about the quality of the photograph, because he has said he is a professional photographer and he does excellent work. It's why he works on many Scottish wrestling events. So thanks to him once again for my photograph, not just with Sting but with Polo Promotions. I think it looks really good. They uploaded it to Flickr. I found the link on one of the members of Polo Promotions, DCT, the guy I mentioned, deliberate, because I wanted to mention it. DCT, the wrestler, his Facebook page, I found the link up to there, and they've uploaded onto Polo Promotions Flickr page. I really don't get some of these websites, Flickr and Instagram. It's like, but we've already got Facebook, you can show your photographs off there. But I suppose, if people want to use those kind of websites, not really. I'm not really, apart from taking, pictures at wrestling events, I'm not a huge photograph guy. I don't take a lot of selfies. My phone doesn't have an inbuilt camera. Even if it did, I wouldn't be interested in taking pictures every single second of the day, every single day. Although it will be a good thing, perhaps, to look back for people to look back in years to come at society and that. But that's another topic. Anyway, getting to the event itself, the SECC in Glasgow, the interaction ticket holders got in first. I got quite near the front because me getting the picture of Polo Promotions put me a little bit further back to the queue. I was pretty much at the end of the queue anyway with the interaction tickets. But we got in there early. I got quite close up to the second row. A couple of people kept pushing in, unfortunately, up different parts of the event, which went back a little bit, but mostly I got some good photos. And you can see I've got to put up a video on here on my YouTube channel of photos, the Mikey Whiplash and BT Gun fall off the cage, which I'll talk about shortly, and Rhino goring Joe Coffey through the table, and Mick Foley dropping an F-bomb as he did at the start of the show. So getting to the actual show itself, the show began with ICW owner Mark Dallas, Chris Toll and Sweeney coming to the ring. Mark Dallas got a huge reaction, as you would expect. A lot of fans, including myself, chanting "Thank you, Dallas." He actually thanked everybody for coming up, but for buying a ticket. There was approximately 4,000 plus in the arena. I don't know the exact number, but there was at least 4,000 tickets sold, or just over 4,000 tickets sold, and it was certainly packed. The venue was very hot right the way through the night. I mean, if the show had been a couple of matches longer, I might have actually had to have gone out or sort of left where I was and got a drink. I would never been able to make it back to where I was standing, but absolutely boiling hot. I was sweating like a pig, I'm not afraid to admit. But anyway, Mark Dallas, a couple of announcements kicked off the show. Before Mark Dallas and that came out, we saw an advert for the Insane Championship Wrestling video game, and it was revealed that it would be on a couple of different platforms. It's due to be released sometime next year. It will be on Steam, which got a little bit of booing, Xbox One, which got a little bit more of a warmer reception but still some booing, and PlayStation 4, which is a huge achievement, and it actually got the biggest cheer out of all the kind of platforms, video game platforms that the game is going to be released on. It got a huge cheer. So I'm looking forward to seeing the game. Probably end up buying it and seeing what it's like. First Scottish wrestling company to have a video game. I know 5 Star Wrestling are putting their having a game also on the PlayStation 4. So this may be the new kind of war between, well, I say war in inverted commas, between for Scottish wrestling fans. But if both games are very good, I'm sure many people will buy both of them. But I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what these two games are actually going to be like. So Mark Dallas was about to fire Red Lightning, who's the ICW general manager. He did not appear at the Glasgow venue, the Garage, for a previous show where he was supposed to be having a kind of I forget what the wording is now, and I keep doing this and I don't know why, but he was supposed to have a kind of job evaluation. That's it, a job evaluation. Because of his actions, he was suspended from being the general manager at Fear and Loathing. And it was just when Mark Dallas was about to fire Red Lightning for missing that job evaluation, which actually contravened his job suspension. Part of the terms of the suspension was that he had to attend the job evaluation at that Garage show. He didn't, and Mark Dallas was about to fire him when one of the biggest pops of the night came as Mick Foley's kind of music hit. It was kind of a remix, kind of ICW's version of Mick Foley's Wrecked, I believe it's called, as Mick Foley came down and came to the ring. That's when he when he dropped the F-bomb. You can see it here on my YouTube channel, and he then told Mark Dallas and everybody in the crowd that he would do the very best job he could do as the commissioner for ICW for the evening. So the first match, finally, it was for the ICW 0G Championship between the two former Bucky Boy tag team partners and cousins, Davey Boy, accompanied by their other cousin, the Wee Man. He was against the then reigning 0G champion, Stevie Boy. And now I believe that it certainly seemed to me, and I've not watched this event back on the ICW on-demand services yet, but it's clearly I saw Stevie Boy puking, being sick at the beginning of this match. I don't know, was it nerves? Was he ill? But certainly he seemed sick. Don't know whether the cameras captured it, but it was a very good match, very competitive. Stevie Boy doing a kind of bounce against the ropes on the apron, and doing a kind of springboard DDT on Davey Boy. They fought up the ramp initially, because when Stevie Boy came out, Davey Boy immediately jumped out the ring, and then started attacking Stevie Boy on the ramp. They went into one of the railings on from where I was standing, the right hand side of the ramp, because I was actually placed the other side of the ramp, so I was facing the entranceway, obviously on the other side of the ring. But I was like ringside, facing the other side, facing right down, so it was like right down the middle of the arena. So they had a good match. I think the timing was off a couple of bitties. Like I said, it was a little bit hot. Davey Boy was sweating. A really good match with Davey Boy eventually pinning Stevie Boy to become the new ICW Zero-G champion. I think it was well deserved. Davey Boy has been spearheading ICW for the last few years. They were a hugely popular tag team, Stevie Boy and Davey Boy as the Bucky Boys. One of ICW's most popular tag teams of all time, I think. And you know, Davey's been on the BBC documentaries and press interviews. He's really put out the word of ICW in recent years, so very definitely deserved to take the title. And I hope they do have a rematch between Stevie Boy and Davey Boy sometime in the future. I really do hope that is not all we see of Davey Boy and the man who betrayed him to become a New Age Clique member, Stevie Boy. I do hope that they have a rematch sometime down the line. Next up was a six-man tag team match. Kenny Williams, Noam Dar and Global Hero Joe Hendry against Lionheart, Bad Boy Liam Thompson and the ambassador of British Wrestling, Doug Williams. Now, I don't know why I've been having a little bit of problems with my camera. I think it's possibly in my hand actually at this point, but Joe Hendry, Global Hero, actually came out in one of these kind of inflatable balls. You know, you get those where you actually have your feet out and you can. Actually, some people play football and rugby and other games with them, mostly kids. But you come in a big inflatable ball, almost like one of those that you run down hills with, so you're protected. But he came out that and actually rolled himself down the ramp. I've only got a couple of seconds, literally, of the footage of that because the camera lens went wrong. I think I had my hand in the way for something, but the camera lens shut down on us, so I didn't capture it unfortunately fully. Otherwise, I would have put it up on YouTube as well. But this was a really good match. This was an actual wrestling match, showing a lot of their great skills. During the match, Jimmy Havoc returned to ICW, attacking Liam Thompson, Doug Williams, and Lionheart. Lionheart was actually kind of arrested, actually, after really during this match. That's the thing. I was genuinely wondering what happened, because obviously we had commentators. Billy Kirkwood actually welcomed everybody to the SECC. And I missed the name of the other gentleman, unfortunately. I'm sure somebody will comment what the name is, and apologies to him because I missed his name. I'm not entirely sure who that gentleman is, and I believe he's quite a new commentator to ICW. But Lionheart at one point went to some of the crowd on the left-hand side who were standing next to the ramp, because it was all actually standing in the SECC and Hall 3, I believe it was. We were at one point. Somebody Lionheart went over, and you know, Lionheart and lots of heel bad guy wrestlers do it. Somebody makes a comment to them, they return a comment to them, but suddenly there was a lot of scuffling actually in the crowd, and at that point I was genuinely not sure what was happening. I was quite a bit away from them. Like I said, I was down on the other end, near the barricade, but quite, I would say at least about 10-15 feet away. So I couldn't quite see what was going on with all the masses of people and all the security suddenly getting involved. Suddenly Lionheart was scrapping with somebody, and I thought actually thought that it was just a fan, somebody being overexcited because ICW shows are over 18s only. I thought perhaps somebody has become overexcited, or somebody's taken offence to what Lionheart has said. He's very much divisive, Lionheart, when it comes to Scottish wrestling. Some people don't like him, a lot of people don't. You know what's like, some people, I've seen it before when fans take it into their own hands and they shouldn't, and I hate that, but you know, people need to remember it's a bit of a show. But very much suddenly a scuffling, and suddenly somebody was being dragged out of the crowd by security and scrapping with Lionheart. I was genuinely unsure of what was happening. I thought somebody's been overexcited, somebody's gotten too much into the show, or somebody's gone, even possibly just gone there in order to cause trouble. Eventually it turned out to be an actor guy. He played a character called Bobby on the BBC Scotland sitcom Scot Squad, and eventually a couple of members of that cast came out. Scot Squad is a police sitcom. It actually stars ICW star Grado as Hugh McCurdy, I think his name is in that, Sergeant Hugh McCurdy. It's one of the television projects that Grado has done recently. I thought it was very funny. I haven't watched every episode. I'll have to check if there's a couple of them on iPlayer, if there's BBC iPlayer, if they're still available. But eventually the Scot Squad came out and arrested Lionheart. There's actually also backstage footage on ICW's Facebook page showing them arresting the guy, and the guy playing Bobby actually kind of, I think, excuse me, a bit cold, but he actually it's difficult to say this, that the character Bobby is not mentally all there. I don't know the exact PC term, quite a PC term for a police bit, but I don't know quite what the politically correct term is, but he's mentally challenged, and he was actually, no, where's William Regal? Where's William Regal? I thought it was a good match, like I said. It was Noam Dar, Kenny, I think, yeah, Kenny Williams and Joe Henry that took the win in that match. I thought it was a really good wrestling match, good six-man tag team match. A little bit mixed up at times, a little bit confusing when it come to who was legal and who was attacking who at a couple of points during the match. But overall, great match, and good to see Doug Williams wrestling live again. It's been a while since I've seen him wrestle live. I'm always a fan of him. Actually, also at the end of that match, Carmel made her return to ICW. She is the former valet of Liam Thompson. She hit him with a steel chair and challenged him to a match which seems to be happening in January at ICW Square Go event. It's kind of the Royal Rumble, but with weapons. So it'll be an intergender match between Liam Thompson and Carmella. She took time off. I believe Liam Thompson pile drove her. I think that's how they broke up. Maybe there's some things slightly wrong, but she's back and she will face Liam Thompson at the Square Go in January. The next match was what was supposed to be a singles match for the newly created ICW Women's Championship. Now, originally the ICW actually held a tournament, and on the 1st of November it was Viper versus Kaylee Ray. Now, I haven't unfortunately had the opportunity to watch some of the pre-tour shows that ICW put up on their on-demand service, so I haven't actually had a chance to watch whether this, see what it probably is most likely on the ICW on-demand service, but I haven't had a chance to see that show. And apparently, from what I was told prior to the show, as we were discussing what might happen, what we think would happen, apparently Kaylee Ray, who is a member of the New Age Clique, along with her boyfriend Stevie Boy, they kind of joined the New Age Clique on the same show a few weeks ago. Apparently the New Age Clique came out, interfered in the semi-final match between Kaylee Ray and Viper to see who would get into this final match to declare to decide the ICW Women's Championship match. And due to this, and due to the interference of the NAK costing Viper the match, causing Kaylee Ray to really steal the victory. Mick Foley actually came out just as the match was getting underway between Nikki Storm, who was accompanied by Sami Zayn as always, and Kaylee Ray. Just as the match, I think they locked up once. I'm not much watching it back on the ICW On Demand service, but I will do in the next couple of days. I think they just locked up and maybe had a little bit of a tie up. Then Mick Foley came out and announced that this match, it's a really good match. It's going to be a really good match, but he wants to make it even greater. And because of what happened in the semi-final, he added Viper to the match, so it became a triple threat match to decide the first ever ICW Women's Championship match. Now, this was a really good match, I thought. As I said before, I'm a fan of women's wrestling when it is done proper, and I've been a fan of women's wrestling for years. Only previous time I believe I've seen Kaylee wrestle live was at Discovery Wrestling, but I've seen Nikki Storm and Viper wrestle for other promotions like Discovery Wrestling, Scottish Wrestling Entertainment. So I've seen those in quite a few matches. I thought it was a really good match. Each woman coming very close to actually taking the victory there. But at one point, Viper actually double clotheslined them, and Viper had a bit of a dominant period a couple of times in the match, including one time when she stood on the middle rope holding Kaylee Ray across her, and actually did a kind of diving side slam where she actually had she had Kaylee Ray Kaylee Ray in her arms like that, and she swung her to the side as Viper swung her to the side as she jumped down and pretty much squashed Kaylee Ray, and even actually at one point suplexed Nikki Storm onto Kaylee Ray as well. So Kaylee Ray took a lot of punishment, I thought, in this match. Viper eventually took the victory in this match to become the first ever ICW Women's Champion. You could immediately see how much it meant to Viper. She's a really nice woman. She's a nice girl. She absolutely deserves it. And I'm so happy for her. She broke down in tears, and there's some good photos actually up. I'm going to have to find out where it is, but I know, like I said, David J. Wilson was there, so I'm going to have to look to see whether I can find what website or what place that he is, if he has put up his collection of the Fear and Loathing matches. I know he's put up a few, because I've seen a few being kind of copied and used in either blogs or shared on Twitter and Facebook. So I'll have to find out where, if he has put up his collection, and go through them and have a look at them. But Viper, you could tell immediately how much it meant to her. She was in tears. I'm so happy for Viper. She's worked so hard and really become a fantastic wrestler over these past couple of years. She's definitely developed very well. Part of TNA's British Boot Camp too, where she was kind of rejected for her size. She's slightly larger than the other women, and I know, apparently, from what my brother and his girlfriend told me, because of I had the single interaction package, and because of the time that the people who had the non-VIP or non-interaction package actually came in, we were separated during the event, which, to be honest, it didn't really bother me, because I knew they were there and knew they would, they'd hopefully, definitely get a good view. And apparently, a couple of people did make a couple of comments about Viper and her size, but to be honest, you watch her wrestle. Search, if you can, search for her matches on the ICW On Demand service or on YouTube. She's a really great wrestler. I was so happy for her becoming the new ICW Women's Champion. Now, some people suggested possibly, is this due to Nikki Storm and Kaylee Ray possibly be signed by WWE? I know that Nikki Storm's been having tryouts with WWE. Kaylee Ray was on NXT. We don't know, but I do hope that this, to be honest, it's another match I would genuinely like to see a rematch in. I know Viper will be a fighting champion, as she always does. When she was SWE Future Division champion, she was a fighting champion, put up the title. So I'm sure we'll see some great matches as Viper actually defends the title. I'm looking forward to seeing who they put forward as the first challenger when Viper defends the ICW Women's Championship. So congratulations to Viper, she certainly deserved it. Next up was Iron Man Joe Coffey against the Man Beast Rhino. Absolutely. I mean, I talked earlier about my t-shirt. I actually bought because Mick Foley in association with Powerbomb Media, and it took quite a while to reach me, unfortunately, and I ended up having to pay a little bit of customs charges. Most of it was actually the Royal Mail charge, unfortunately, because instead it's something like 6 or 8 quid, even if it's handling fees like 6 or 8 quid for the Royal Mail, which is a bit ridiculous. When you pay the money, you're supposed to pay the money for delivery, but that's another thing for another time. The Iron Man of Scottish Wrestling, Joe Coffey against Rhino. I thought this was a real good match. I put up the footage of Rhino goring Joe Coffey through a table. Rhino set up in the corner. Joe Coffey almost escaped, well, actually escaped a couple of times, being gored through the table before Rhino actually gored him through the table. But like I said about my t-shirt, I bought it from Powerbomb Media because Mick Foley, in association with them, sold it officially a couple of months ago now, I think it is. Anyway, it's a Japanese Cactus Jack, like the one on the t-shirt I have now, but it's all in Japanese, and on the back of it, it actually has in Japanese the tournament brackets for the Japanese Deathmatch Tournament, which Mick Foley won in 1995. And I had Mick Foley sign it at the meet and greet, the VIP or interactions session. Unfortunately, though, Rhino took the woman in front of me's drink, which was, I believe, vodka and cranberry that she had, that she bought, and he absolutely he just threw it all over the crowd, and unfortunately it was the crowd immediately where I was, so I ended up getting soaked quite a bit, because when I was, it ended up splashing all around there, all around the front chest area, because but at that point, like I said, it was so hot in there. I actually ended up taking my jacket off and put it on my coat off and put it in my in a bag to try and keep it off. I know this is not too dirty, but to kind of try and I had a bag with me, so I took the bag out of the and I know what some people know me, I'm like sometimes carrier. Sometimes I carry carrier bags with me, so I can, if I get signed 8x10s from people, then I can keep them in the bag and try and keep them in decent condition. But I put my jacket in the bag, trying to protect them off the dirty floor, and unfortunately, because I would have had it open anyway because of the heat, but all the drink, a lot of the drink ended up all around my front chest area, which stunk as well by the end of the night, because it all dried and everything. So I've had to wash that t-shirt, unfortunately, which means I pretty much lost, well, I have lost the signature on it, but I was so stinking so much, and I do want to keep the t-shirt. I don't want to degrade, but Rhino threw all the drink all over, and we actually had a couple of, I think that happened a couple of times during that match, or at least we had water sprayed over us a couple of times during the event. I forget who, possibly it was Rhino the other time, I forget. Like I said, I'm not actually watching on the on-demand service as of yet, but a really good match. Iron Man Joe Coffey eventually defeating the Man Beast Rhino. Next match was the ICW Tag Team Championship. Polo Promotions, Jackie Polo and the Real Deal Mark Coffey with Coach Tripp and DCT against a 55 representative Kid Fight and the East End Butcher Shah Samuels, who were accompanied by the 55 manager James R. Kennedy and their bodyguard Tim Wiley. I thought this was a good tag team match. Both teams kept different members away from their own corner. Polo Promotions really started actually as a really unpopular group, very heel group, very bad guy group. They actually, I don't know whether it's due to James R. Kennedy, and many people have their own opinions of James R. Kennedy as a person. I know that fully well. But certainly Polo Promotions coming into this match, they seem to be switching to good guys, the baby faces, because I think certainly at least about 80-90% of the cheering was for Polo Promotions. A very good tag team match, and Polo Promotions actually defeated them by pinfall to retain the ICW Tag Team Championship. So they are, so Jackie Polo and the Real Deal Mark Coffey are still the ICW Tag Team Champions. A good match. I thought it could have gone a little bit longer. The steel cage match was next. It was Legion, Tommy End, Mikey Whiplash, and Michael Dante against the New Age Clique, Chris Renfrew, BT Gunn, and Wolfgang. Wolfgang did an unbelievable. It seems every steel cage match that Wolfgang is involved in, he does a senton from the top of the steel cage, and every single time, you'd think he would learn by now, but every time his opponent moves out of the way. That was a horrendous moment. I've got a bit of a footage of that. I'm not going to put it up on YouTube because it's only literally a few seconds, but it really does look like he just is able to turn himself around a little bit. You know, like senton bomb. You know, he's with what he did, senton bomb. So he's just able to flip himself just in time, because if he hadn't, it looked very much. Well, certainly when I was watching it live, it certainly looked like he almost came down on his head. It looked like he was going to come down right on his head at one point, but he was just able to whether it be the momentum or whether it be, you know, just being able to straighten himself out, he came down thankfully on his back. And I do wish he would stop doing it, because every time it looks really horrendous. It was the Fear and Loathing ring, so it was a little bit bouncier than the normal ICW ring, I believe, from what a couple of people beside me were saying. But it does look unbelievable. It was a steel cage match where all members of a team must escape to win it for their team. The order of escape was Wolfgang, Michael Dante, Tommy N, Chris Renfrew, and then BT Gunn and Mikey Whiplash came off the steel cage together. They did kind of a traditional steel cage match bit where they fought a couple of times up the steel cage, and they, you know, they were punching each other, and they were kind of climbing to the outside of the cage, and where they were hitting each other. Well, obviously they were doing it so you could tell they weren't really hitting their heads. They were kind of going like that against the top of the steel cage. You know, obviously they were supposed to be hitting each other's head, but they did that a couple of times, and then they both fell right off the steel cage, and it happened. It just so happened it happened at the side of the cage that I was at, and they beat Wolfgang and a few and Chris Renfrew and a couple other members of Legion and the NAK had set up tables right there, obviously for them to fall through. Now, BT Gunn ended up landing shoulder first on a table, and so you can see the footage on my YouTube channel here. And I did put it up a couple of different speeds. You can see it clearly, especially when I watched it back that night on my camera when we were back at the hostel that we were staying at. I was able to do it frame by frame on my camera, and you can clearly see Mikey Whiplash comes down. His bum goes through one table, which collapses the table, breaks the table, and his head hit off the edge of the other table that was sitting right next to it. A horrendous moment. What happened next, I don't take any footage of it because my batteries were crap anyway. They kept cutting out at the very important moments, unfortunately. But certainly, you know, what Mikey Whiplash did was unbelievable. You could tell the referee put up the X, you know, that sign, which means somebody here is genuinely injured. We need help out here right away. That's what that X is. It was amazing. It was almost like a kind of Mick Foley Hell in a Cell moment, which I'll actually talk about that later on at the end. But Mikey Whiplash, as injured as he was, and he took a hell of a bump. I mean, it wasn't padding on the floor, and it was kind of soft wood, kind of ledge around the ring. But Mikey Whiplash actually climbed back into the ring. back into the steel cage through the door, which interestingly wasn't actually used, I don't think, at all during any of the escapes. There was a steel cage there, and obviously normally these days, especially these days, they have a door so that people can use that as kind of a dramatic thing, or just simply enter and exit the cage, because they actually had the cage on a like WWE do it. They had it on chains and everything in the support system, so they were able to lower it down because it hung up above the ring during the first few matches. They actually took it apart after the steel cage match, which may have been easier for them when it took time, when it became time to actually clear everything outside out of the building. But Mikey Whiplash climbed back into the ring, and you could tell he was seriously hurt. But he grabbed the microphone, climbed back into the steel cage, and this was one of the genuine standout moments for Fear and Loathing for me. He took the microphone, and I might be paraphrasing a little bit. Like I said, you can watch it on the ICW On Demand service, but he took the microphone and called to BT Gunn, who was being helped up the ramp by his fellow NAK members, saying, if you haven't noticed, I'm still breathing. I do not fear death. I just haven't found someone worthy enough to kill me yet. It was just an absolute unbelievable. I didn't take any pictures of that moment. I was just literally genuinely standing there in awe. This, it's just an unbelievable moment. Just see Mikey Whiplash, who genuinely could tell the concern on even I know this was supposed to be this was like one of ICW's hottest feuds and hottest rivalries between the NAK and the Legion, the Sumerian Death Squad and Mikey Whiplash. You could tell this is one of ICW's hottest feuds of 2015, and they've had some great matches and some great shows and some fantastic stuff. And I think the video played before the match was great, but you could genuinely see the concern on everybody's face after that bump that BT Gunn and Mikey Whiplash, especially Renfrew looking at Mikey Whiplash. You can tell he was seriously concerned about him, and like just in amazement. And for Mikey Whiplash to climb back into the ring and then challenge BT Gunn to come back in and finish the match, which BT Gunn kind of fought against the NAK members who were trying to hold him back, and he came down very quickly. You could tell, I don't know what exactly the plan was for that, but it was over within about a minute and a half. Very quickly, BT Gunn, I think it was, BT Gunn pinned Mikey Whiplash to win the match for the NAK, because it was very quickly announced that this would actually come down to a sudden death match, and the first person to get a pinfall would actually take the win for their team. So it's a tremendous match. I'm looking forward to seeing that steel cage match back on the on-demand service. And I thought it was great that after BT Gunn pinned Mikey Whiplash, the both teams went in. Renfrew and Wolfgang went to help up BT Gunn. Tommy and Michael Dante went in and helped Mikey Whiplash up, and they both looked at each other, and both teams showed each other respect, and that was a really great moment. I've got a couple of good pictures of that. You can, if you want to watch my photo video that I put up. I know it's about 9.5 minutes long, but there were so many good photos. There were some really decent photos I wanted to include, and just put up a range of my photos. We then had the penultimate match, the Beast of Belfast, Damien O'Connor, against the hardcore icon Jack Jester. This was quite a short match. Now, I've got the feeling this match at this point, I was actually feeling very tired. I'm quite out of condition anyway, as you'd suspect, but it was so boiling hot. I believe actually somebody even collapsed through heat exhaustion at one point of the show. I do hope they're alright, because suddenly we saw crew, and there was ambulance people in attendance in case anything happened. It's SECC, so a professional venue. and suddenly somebody was being attended to during one point of the show. I do hope they're okay, but this was quite a short match. I think they got their time cut for this match. This was actually the only match that fought into the crowd, and actually again, I think I picked the, I don't know, did I pick the right or the wrong spot, because the Beast of Belfast, David O'Connor, and Jack Jester actually ended up fighting right where we were, and we had to, we had to go back a lot when, during the end of the steel cage match, and we had to go stand quite a bit back, when Damo and Jack Jester, who are two guys not to mess with, certainly, they ended up fighting into the crowd, fighting right near us. I don't think it got a particularly good couple of foes of that because of the darkness, but really good match. Two big beasts of guys going up against each other. Damo actually beat Jester by pinfall in this match. Really good match. I would have liked to have been a bit quicker, a bit longer even in this match. I think a good match with proper time between those two. I think they possibly got the time cut a little bit because of the length of the show, but a really good match with Damo going over Jack Jester. I would definitely like to see a proper match between them two sometime in the future. It did last a good 8 or so minutes, I think, but it did seem they were a bit pressed for time, in my opinion. It may not have been, that may have been the plan all along, but to me it seemed their time was cut a little bit short. The main event was the ICW World Heavyweight Championship match. Grado challenging the ICW World Heavyweight Champion Drew Galloway. Now, this match, the atmosphere for this whole event was tremendous, and I have to say the atmosphere for this great match was fantastic. I mean, when Mick Foley came out, there was a wall of sound. When Grado comes out for this match, there was a huge, huge wall of sound, and I do feel it's a little bit of a pity that we will not get to actually witness that again on the ICW on-demand service, because Grado's entrance theme is a version of Madonna's Like a Prayer. I don't think it's Madonna singing it, but I think it's possibly Madhouse or something like that. But unfortunately, due to rights issues over the song, the music will be cut, I believe, on the ICW on demand version. I know that they put up one very quickly at 6 o'clock on Monday evening, and I believe they're going to put up I don't know whether they're going to replace the version that was up, or whether they're going to put up another version, because there was somehow a live mixed version of the show that was the one put up. It was mixed as live. I don't, obviously edited. I don't know how ICW do it. It's kind of like watching Raw. The repeats kind of Raw. You get it cut. There's a director in the back saying, right, cut to camera 2. Wait, cut to camera 4. Right, bring us back to camera 2 or whatever. Apparently they somehow did a kind of a live mix of the show on the night, and that's what it was put up at 6 PM on their ICW on demand service, which I have to say they advertised it as being up at 9 PM, which is why I put up on my videos. You can see it on the ICW on demand service from 9 PM on Monday, because I wasn't actually until I put up one video that I noticed on Facebook they had already posted. Right now it's available, and that was just after 6 o'clock at the evening. So it is hopefully it's certainly enjoyable to watch, and this match was fantastic. So it's unfortunate that I think the sound's going to be cut for the Grado entrance, because it was fantastic, fantastic atmosphere. Grado's entrance, I know some people have said that Grado's entrance is a lot of his act, but he has gotten himself in great shape. You can see it on the match. You can see it. He's lost a lot of weight, and he's actually a better wrestler than some people give him credit for. I have to give credit also to Drew Galloway for this match. Drew Galloway really pushed this match. Grado, don't get me wrong, Grado put in the effort in this match, and he pulled off things I never seen him pull off before, like a Hurricane Rana, and he did some good spots, and Grado was right there. I mean, I watched this match kind of carefully, which is why I really wanted to watch it back on the ICW On Demand service. I, uh, you know, I genuinely think that Grado was putting in the effort, but Drew Galloway was just leading the match a little bit. I think Galloway had a, no wonder with the experience of Drew Galloway. He's been in WWE, he's now in TNA, he's wrestling all over the world. I mean, I just saw a Facebook post earlier of him saying that he's just arrived in Tampa, Florida, and then he's got a show, and then he's going to Mexico for 4 days, and then he's going, I believe, is it possibly back to Scotland or into England? He's got a couple of shows he's got to travel for over the next couple of days, so he's a well experienced guy, and certainly he helped the match as well. So I have to give a lot of credit to Grado, but a lot of credit also to Drew Galloway. They both worked well together and put on what was a great match. I mean, Galloway doing the crossbody dive to Drew Galloway, who caught him and then did a spinning backbreaker on Grado. Like I said, Grado doing that Hurricane Rana, and there was just continued points where Grado and Drew Galloway were hitting their big moves on each other. The wee boot, which is kind of the big boot, what Grado calls it. Galloway did his double arm DDT. He used to call it Future Shock. I'm not entirely sure what he calls it these days, but he had his double arm DDT, his finisher on it. Grado still kicked out. I've got a couple of pictures of Drew Galloway arguing with the referee, saying that no, surely that was a 3 count. It wasn't. It was only a 2 count. They got the crowd up. They really got. I mean, this was one of the main matches that the ICW fans, including myself, were there to see, and it was one of these matches that was, I think, one of the most discussed matches on the card was, what would happen? Will Grado finally take the ICW title? Will Drew Galloway retain the title? And will he still continue to be the dominant force in Insane Championship Wrestling? Eventually, though, Grado just once again hit another wee boot to Drew Galloway. Now, Drew Galloway had actually knocked out the referee deliberately, which I thought, initially when that happened, yep, here we go, Drew Galloway's going to retain the title, which, to be honest, either result I would not been too unhappy with. I know a lot of people were, because we travelled to the SECC on the Glasgow Underground, and I know from hearing a couple of people's discussions on that, because it's a basic stop for the SECC, the Hydro as well, which will be next year's, like I said, next year's Fear and Loathing. I know a lot of people were saying, if Grado, there's typical, it's been from, I think Rob Van Dam fans started it in 2006 for the RVD John Cena WWE title match. If Grado doesn't win, we riot. And a lot of people were hoping that Grado would, and he did, take the Insane Championship Wrestling title. When Grado delivered that wee boot to Drew Galloway, after Red Lightning came to the ring in aid of Galloway, but was cut off by another appearance by Mick Foley, who attacked Red Lightning. Jack Jester, also another member of with Red Lightning, and Drew Galloway, member of the Black Label. Jack Jester tried to interfere, and Mick Foley gave him Mr. Socko, which kind of a note I was told by my brother's girlfriend. Apparently Jester was very excited. He knew that was going to happen. Obviously, kind of going out of kayfabe here, but apparently Jack Jester was seriously excited about taking the Mr. Socko. My brother's girlfriend said she knew somebody that knew Jester's mother or something. I can't remember exactly who it was, but apparently Jester was really excited to take that Socko on. To be honest, I would have been excited as well. But Mick Foley cut off Red Lightning, cut off Jack Jester, which ended up having the opportunity for Grado to deliver that wee boot. The ICW owner Mark Dallas ran immediately to the ring, counted the 1, 2, 3, and there we had Grado as the new Insane Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, and the place went, as we say here in Scotland, the place went mental. It was absolutely a huge pop for Grado, absolutely road warrior pop, I would say. 4,000 people going absolutely mental. His entrance music, Like a Prayer, started playing. Everybody was singing along to it, cheering Grado. Grado got given the ICW World Heavyweight Championship, and then various people involved in ICW, Noam Dar, Kenny Williams, Chris Toll, Billy Kirkwood at one point left the commentary desk and entered the ring. A lot of people were celebrating, including Mick Foley. Mick Foley was clapping and kind of cheering a little bit when Grado was going up on the corners with the belt. Really great reaction, and to see again another guy that I'm so happy for to take his his actual second ICW Heavyweight Championship, because I believe he held it before actually when he won it from Red Lightning, but I believe he only held it for a matter of minutes when I think the match was restarted. But anyway, to see Grado, who'd worked so hard, and I know some people have their different thoughts on Grado, that he's a bit of a comedy act, that, like I said, his entrance is most of his act, that he's not really a so-called proper wrestler, which he is. I thought the skills he's shown when I've seen him live has been very good. I enjoyed the match between him and Lou King Sharp at Discovery Wrestling Show. I thought that was a really good show, a really good match as well. I thought it was exceptional. I thought it was a really good match, and I think Grado has worked on his in-ring skills, and I think he's doing a very good job. Like I said, I'll give a credit to Drew Galloway, because as the heel, which he should do as a heel, he led the match, but Grado absolutely put in the effort too, and he does continually put in the effort. So whenever I've seen Grado wrestle live, it's not as if he's a punch bag, it's not as if he's a dead weight, that, he is certainly not like, I don't know, the Great Khali or another just ridiculously useless wrestler where his opponents have to kind of throw themselves around or try and have a match with themselves, pretty much. That's not the case with Grado. He works hard in the ring. Yeah, he's still maybe a little bit out of shape, he's working on that, and maybe he's not where he possibly could be, but he is not a dead weight in the ring. He's not somebody that his opponents will have to go, oh my god, I'm going to have a match with myself, I'm going to have to somehow get a match going, and I'm going to have to make this entertaining. I'm against Grado. He's not somebody that they really need to have their head in their hands with when they see that they're facing them. He does put in the effort, and he's a great wrestler, and I'm so happy for him. The leaps and bounds that he's come on in the last couple of years as a performer, like Scott Squad, doing River City, which is a BBC Scotland soap. He's done fantastic things over the last couple of years, and good luck to him, and I hope he continues it. I'm still a fan of Grado. Look forward to seeing him hopefully wrestle for many years yet to come. He's still very young, and I think he will be remembered as a great wrestler. Even, he may not be the world's greatest technical wrestler, but not everybody can be. I made a blog on WordPress, I call it Niels Cairns, I think it is, on WordPress, saying a while ago, not everybody can be world heavyweight champion. Not everybody can be, the greatest technical wrestler in the world. But, that's the thing about professional wrestling. There's a wide spectrum of what you can be in wrestling. You can be a bit of a comedy character, you can be funny, you can be entertaining. You don't necessarily need to be the most technical wrestler in the world. And for some people, for the Joe Henrys of this world, because I can see them right on my poster, and for guys like Doug Williams and lots of other wrestlers, they're great technical wrestlers, and even some of them put in a bit of entertainment. Go and watch the Table for Three with William Regal, Sheamus, and Drew Barrett. Wade Barrett even. Wade Barrett, Sheamus, and William Regal, and you'll understand where I'm kind of coming from, what William Regal says about being entertaining. So this was a great moment. Guerrero raising the ICW Heavyweight Championship belt aloft, a fantastic moment, so happy for him. The guy from the top end of Stevenson has become the ICW World Heavyweight Champion, and I believe he will be defending the title against Lionheart in his first championship defense. I look forward to seeing that when it's put on the on-demand service. So, overall, I thought it was a really good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to there. I think it was the first time at SECC. First time at an ICW show in Glasgow, because money and financial stuff I will not be able to go through to Glasgow and everything. I enjoyed it. Fear and Loathing 8 was a really good show. I keep mentioning the ICW on-demand service probably too many times, but I would genuinely say, apparently you can actually rent Fear and Loathing without having to subscribe to the on-demand service. I would say go and watch the Fear and Loathing event. I thought all the matches were really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Bit knackered after it was so really hot. Really knackered by the time we reached the hostel, but where we were staying. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. The biggest drawing show in 34 years in British wrestling, I thought went down a storm. The general reaction to it seems very positive. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do over the next few months. And this morning, as I said, tickets went on sale for Fear and Loathing 9, which will happen at the Hydro in Glasgow on November the 20th. So just 366 days or so, as this is now the 19th of November 2015. So then on the 20th of November 2016, Fear and Loathing 9 will happen at the Hydro in Glasgow. There is apparently, from what Mark Dallas and ICW are saying, they're looking for a crowd of around 11,000 for that show, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope to see a lot of people there. We've booked tickets, certainly hopefully I'll be going if nothing gets in the way. But overall, it was a really good show. ICW certainly is the #1 company in Scotland in professional wrestling, because I will call it that, professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. I thought it was a really good show. Everybody involved in that show should take a pat on their back. Mick Foley even said, Mark Dallas on his Facebook page said that he said after the first appearance by Mick Foley that he said to Mick, you can go back to your dressing room, you can hang out, you can do whatever you want until we need you again. But Mick Foley said, no, I want to stay here backstage and watch the event, which he did, because Mick actually shared on Facebook my video of him dropping the F-bomb at Fear and Loathing, and I put up a comment saying thank you for sharing my video. It was an honour meeting you on Sunday. Then I said that the owner Mark Dallas said that you had sat backstage and watched the event. I hope you enjoyed it, and he actually replied to my comment saying that yes, he did actually watch the whole event, and he he loved it. He said, I sat back and I watched I watched the show backstage and I loved it. That's what he put in response. And so, I really do think that everybody involved in that show, whether you're behind the scenes, crew members, certainly those who competed in the ring, all deserve a big pat on the back for a great show. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to next year, Fear and Loathing 9 at the Hydro. I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a great, hopefully another great year for ICW and for Scottish wrestling next year. This year has been a fantastic year. So many companies doing so many great shows. ICW leading the way, and I wish them nothing but the best. I'm not going to be at many shows, I don't think, next year, because I really have to concentrate on getting a job, getting employment, and other stuff that's going on. I really do need to concentrate on that. But it is absolutely one thing I will definitely be at is Fear and Loathing 9 at the Hydro, November 20th, 2016. So again, big congratulations, big pat on the back to everyone involved in that show, especially the wrestlers who put on a tremendous show, and some of them really did go above and beyond what was it even expected by me and the ICW fans when it comes to putting their bodies on the line. Absolutely fantastic, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And if you have even watched part of this video, or even watched the whole hour odd of this video, because I do want to, like I said earlier, I did want to start and to sit and talk properly about this event. Please go and do what I'm going to do and watch it back on the ICW on demand service. It is well worth watching, and there's many other shows but also on the ICW on demand service. And the good thing about the Hydro event next year, it's going to be open to 16 years old plus, so even if you're not 18, which ICW crowds normally are, you will be able to attend the Fear and Loathing 9 next year. So overall, a great show. Thanks to ICW and Scene Championship Wrestling, thanks to Mick Foley, to Doug Williams, to, as I said, all the people involved in that show. I thoroughly enjoyed myself and can't wait to see what happens next year. I'm sure ICW once again will blow the roof off that Hydro and put on an exceptional show. So I think everybody there should be really proud of themselves. I know Mark Dallas will I know he's probably feeling the strain a little bit over the past few years, and I know that he's got the ICW got a couple more shows before the end of the year in Glasgow. But certainly, well done to everyone once again. Fantastic show. Thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I look forward to next year. The SSE Hydro, Fear and Loathing 9. Who's going to be there? What's going to happen? What are the matches that are going to take place? I don't know. We all don't know. I don't think even ICW know at this point, but I certainly know it's going to be one hell of a show next year. And even forgetting that, even the normal shows, I know that ICW are causing a lot of interest internationally. So I think the future is bright for ICW. The future is bright for Scottish wrestling. And if this is a taste of things to come, then, ladies and gentlemen, get out your fork, get out your knife, get out your big mother effing plate-sized plates, because huge plates, because we are going to tuck into a buffet of fantastic wrestling action. I know that simile didn't quite work, but it's going to be great. If that was a taste of things to come, I look forward to tucking into a very delicious meal.